This just in, Attorney General Pam Bondi suing the state of Maine over refusing to comply with a ban on trans athletes in high school sports. CNN's Paula Reed has all the details and is just coming in now at the Justice Department for us. Paula, what did the Attorney General say and what happens now?
Well, of course, this follows that high-profile confrontation between Maine's governor and President Trump earlier this year, where the governor made it clear she did not intend to comply with his executive order banning transgender athletes from girls' sports. And she said, "See you in court." Well, now that is a reality, but this also seemed like the natural next step in this ongoing controversy, because shortly after that confrontation in the White House, the state of Maine faced a barrage of federal retaliation. Multiple agencies, including the Department of Agriculture, Health and Human Services, the Department of Education, and the Department of Justice, threatened federal funding. The Attorney General back in February sent Maine a letter saying that it had to comply. So it's not surprising that we're here 2 months later filing this lawsuit. Here's what the Attorney General said about her effort today. Let's take a listen.
This is about sports. This is also about these young women's personal safety. I've met many of these women throughout the past weeks and months, and what they have been through is horrific. We have exhausted every other remedy. We tried to get Maine to comply. We don't like standing up here and filing lawsuits. We want to get states to comply with us. That's what this is about.
Now, the state of Maine says there are only 2 transgender athletes participating in girls' sports at this time. So, look, there are legitimate questions here about whether the fact that this governor stood up to President Trump in a very public way resulted in almost the full force of the federal government being used against that state. But look, this is an issue that has played out across the country. And the Attorney General signaled today she may file lawsuits against other states.
And the Attorney General also speaking today more about the case of the Maryland man who is mistakenly deported to El Salvador. What's she saying?
Yeah, our colleague from Fox News asked her whether the government would present evidence that Mr. Abrego Garcia was connected to MS-13. He pressed her, why not make that evidence public? She made no commitment to make that public. And it's clear at this time the Justice Department has no intention of bringing him back. Notably, she was also asked about why the Justice Department has prioritized acts of violence at Tesla dealerships and whether it will do the same for the recent arson attack at the governor of Pennsylvania's home. Now, she did say that they're working alongside state partners, but did not appear to commit to the idea that that was any form of domestic terrorism or a full-blown federal investigation. So again, the Attorney General, she's done a lot of press conferences, and it was good that she took questions on a variety of topics.
Yeah. Paula Reed, great to see you. Thank you so much. John.
All right, new this morning, the United Kingdom's highest court has made a landmark ruling deciding that the legal definition of a woman does not include trans women. With us now, CNN's Salma Abdulaziz. What specifically did this court rule on? What does it mean going forward?
Very good question. So the UK's highest court, the UK's Supreme Court, was interpreting the definition of a woman as it pertains to the country's equality laws. And within that context, it rules that trans women are excluded from the definition of a woman and, quote, that the concept of sex is binary. A person is either a woman or a man, end quote, when it comes to the application of equality laws in this country. Now, the ruling also says that trans people will be protected from discrimination, but potentially it would be under other grounds. And the judges wanted to caution people against reading this as a victory for one side or the other. Take a listen.
Counsel against reading this judgment as a triumph of one or more groups in our society at the expense of another.
Now, this case came to the court through a campaign group, which was seen outside the courtroom, of course, celebrating, called For Women for Scotland. And this campaign group was challenging Scotland's guidance that trans women would be have sex protection laws, essentially, like the equality laws of this country, applied to trans women. They challenged that in court. They have been victorious in that today. This is a group that I have to note is also backed, supported, and donated by J.K. Rowling, of course, the author of Harry Potter, someone who's very outspoken on this issue. It has raised alarm, of course, among people who are trans rights activists that fear that this could lead to human rights violations, lead to greater discrimination. But other trans groups are also saying, take a breath, take a beat, give us a chance to interpret, to read through this 88-page document. Regardless, this will have a huge impact going forward on how equality legislation is applied in the UK.
Salma Abdulaziz in London for us this morning. Thank you for sharing your reporting on this, Salma.